what's your take on electric cars and electric bikes?
Well, I mean, besides the fact that they sound like shit.
You mean they don't sound like anything?
No, well, they sound like sewing machines.
Does that sound remind you of a sewing machine?
Well, it sounds like a drone, really.
Okay.
Sewing machine, drone.
Yeah.
Zzz.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't inspire me.
Would you consider getting an electric bike or electric car?
Well, I suppose eventually I'm going to have no choice. Hopefully I'm too old by then to have to make the choice. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Look, think about it this way: the technology might evolve to the stage that you might not like have to drive. You just, push in the map, push in the address, and
But where's the fun in that? I mean, if you're going for a bike ride and you climb onto your bike and you just go push the button and then it takes you there, and all you got to do is check up on your Instagram on the way there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's no fun.
Yeah. Well, maybe when you're 90, your perspective will change.
Yeah, well, maybe then, but I'm just saying in general for people.
Yeah.
For riding a bike that's electric, self-balancing, can get to its destination without you actually. What's the point? In my view, where's the fun in that?
I think, safety, reliability, and,
Yeah, well, if you want safety and reliability, you know what you do? Stay on the couch.
that could be quite dangerous.
Well, no more dangerous than climbing on your self-driving
true.
motorcycle.
Okay, so we're done with electric. What about hydrogen?
Hey?
What about hydrogen?
Well, look, I mean, so I suppose if one's been following the narrative of sustainable energy in vehicles,
Yeah.
or renewable energy in vehicles, let's put it that way. I suppose there's been two areas of development. One's been electric cars run battery, and then there's the hydrogen fuel cell technology that's also being developed.
Mm-hmm.
So when I read about it, I'd like to say many years ago, but there was a stage where I used to buy the Popular Mechanics on a regular basis. And I think they had a thing in there about it. And the biggest problem with hydrogen was the safety around it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I mean, pressurizing that tank to 200 atmospheres. I mean, what could go wrong?
yeah, what could go wrong? Yeah. And the other thing is transporting it. You need to keep it under high pressure and temperature controlled and all that kind of stuff. So, you just got the feeling that even though the technology was great because it's got no sort of, the byproduct is water.
Yeah. There's no emissions.
There are no emissions. You think, oh, that's great. But the difficult thing is the safety around transporting it. And how much does that come into the price of operating or having an infrastructure that supports hydrogen fuel cell cars?
Yeah.
So, because I know I think it was in California or something, BMW America were doing a trial where I think they either had a 7 Series or a 5 Series hydrogen fuel cell car. I'm probably going back 3-4 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were testing it there. So, I mean, I don't know what the results of their test were, but yeah. I mean, what's your thoughts? Because I know you've spoken about hydrogen fuel cells.
So
This is the way to go.
It's
one of the ways to go.
It's one of the ways to go. I mean, the biggest issue with electric vehicle is the range and refueling or recharging. With hydrogen fuel cell, you can basically pop over at the station and just as long as you have the correct infrastructure in place, top it up just like you would top up the petrol or fuel-based vehicle, and 5 minutes later you're off on the way and you have another 600 kilometer range.
on the hydrogen.
on the
fuel cell.
hydrogen. Yeah. So
Yeah.
like that's one big
One
advantage.
advantage. Yeah.
So like what I'm seeing is that like the world is evolving like in different ways. So you can see like Asian countries, like South Korea and Japan, they're they managed to get the hydrogen fuel cell and infrastructure behind it right. So the sales of new greener vehicles like are dominated by the fuel cell vehicles. Nine out of 10 cars, with one being electric.
Yeah.
When you look at North America, it's the other way around. It's nine electric vehicles to one fuel cell vehicle.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. I'm wondering which way the Europe goes. Europe will go. They might also split depending, like different countries will go for different tech. But it would be interesting, like interesting place. Well, interesting thing to like keep track of and see how things are actually evolving.
Yeah. Well, so there was this article that came up on the news recently about hydrogen,
Yeah.
because all of a sudden I started seeing stuff coming through on the news
Yeah.
of new hydrogen fuel cell cars, and like all of a sudden there was like a little bit more talk about it than previously. And I was saying, oh, okay, okay. I mean, it's obviously anecdotal and relative, but all of a sudden I started getting these things coming through on my phone. Probably Google's listening to me again. And yeah, so it's difficult to say whether there's been an uptick in information in the news on hydrogen, or is it just that Google has decided that Andrew spoke
Really?
about hydrogen cars, and now we're going to feed him with all the shit that he needs.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, so I saw this coming through, and there's this company now that has got around the the risk part around transporting hydrogen. And so what they're doing is they're actually transporting it in the form of ammonia.
That is interesting.
Yeah, and that's why all of a sudden there seems to be, because they were saying the reason why hydrogen has been so hard to transport is because it needs this low volumetric energy density, which means it must be stored at high pressure, extremely high pressure.
Yeah.
So, and the solution is to bring ammonia into the picture. So the liquid ammonia has been being made up of one nitrogen atom and three hydrogen. Has a 45% higher volumetric density than hydrogen.
So it's safer to transport.
Yeah, so it's safe for transport. So I also saw that they were saying that all the ports around the world are starting to get ready to be able to store ammonia.
Okay.
So I would imagine you could be able to transport it on some sort of tanker and then get into port and then offload it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it seems like that's a boost for the whole hydrogen fuel cell industry. In a sense that it makes it a little bit easier for other countries that might not have looked at it because of the issues with transport.
But wouldn't you be like aiming to set up your own hydrogen facility?
Yeah, I suppose.
Instead of like transporting it halfway across Atlantic.
Dude, I don't know. I mean, what's the...
I mean, hydrogen is not like hydrocarbons, right? It's not like certain geographies are well endowed in hydrocarbons and certain are not. So like everyone has access to hydrogen as long as they have access to
Well, I
tech.
mean, here's the things. I don't even know where they get the hydrogen from. I mean, how do they make ammonia? How do they manufacture?
It's a good question.
Gonna have to fucking Google it.
Yeah.
How is ammonia manufactured industrially? We'll go the industrial route rather than the homegrown route. Don't make this in the backyard of your house. So it is manufactured industrially.
Just for the reference, we're just looking into like how to manufacture ammonia on industrial scale, not ammonium nitrate. Just
fertilizer.
Clarification.
Fertilizer plants.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so it's a mixture of dry nitrogen and hydrogen gases in the ratio of 1:3 by volume is compressed to about 200 to 300 atmospheres and is passed over an iron catalyst at a temperature of 723 Kelvin. Ammonia being formed is continuously removed by liquefying it. Okay, that's interesting. So, how do you get a
high temperature, high pressure?
Yeah, we're making diamonds now.
Well, we're not dealing with carbon. We're dealing with
Hydrogen.
hydrogen and nitrogen.
Yeah,
and we're
so-
using iron as a catalyst.
Mm. So, like, what's dry nitrogen, by the way? Dry nitrogen gas. How dry is dry nitrogen? Okay.
Pretty dry.
The case for
Super dry.
yeah. Okay. But I mean, the thing is, like, where do you get dry? And I mean, what's dry hydrogen? Because they said, it's a mixture of dry hydrogen, dry nitrogen and hydrogen gases. So where do you get hydrogen gas from?
It's a rabbit hole, guys. We're going down the rabbit hole.
Hydrogen gas. Look, it's one of those days.
Gotta go down
Things are not going according to plan. The best way to deal with that kind of situation is just to lean into it. Yeah, go with the flow. Okay, so hydrogen can be produced from diverse and domestic resources. Currently, most hydrogen is produced
fossil fuels.
From fossil fuels. Oh my, as Janice in Friends would say, oh my God.
I think somebody's having a light bulb moment.
No, well, I mean, all the roads lead back to fossil fuels, dude.
Yeah, hydrocarbons.
Yeah, except the sun, But I mean, the sun's a hydrogen bomb.
So check, electricity from the grid or from the renewable sources such as wind, solar, geothermal, or biomass is also currently used to produce hydrogen.
Okay.
So it's not that bad.
It's not that bad. But I mean, it's quite ironic that all the roads lead back to fossil fuels.
Yeah.
Ish. Yeah, that's interesting. Natural gas and solar. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to read up on this. I'm interested to know how they do this. How do you use wind to make hydrogen?
So, like, overall, what would you prefer? Like, what would you prefer? Like, going back to our conversation, would you prefer a fuel cell vehicle or an electric vehicle?
Neither.
You have to pick one of the two.
Okay.
It's like your only third option is not neither. Your only third option is
a hybrid. Okay,
no,
I'll go for a hybrid.
No, nuclear.
No, not nuclear.
How would you like to have a nuclear reactor on your bike? Like a
No. No. I mean, does that mean that you can use it as a nuclear weapon as well? Nuclear
No. But I'm sure if shit goes wrong.
Yeah. No, so I mean, if I had to choose, I suppose the
who
most
do you call
comfortable-
once your reactor starts leaking?
Ghostbusters. I should do. I don't know. Pelendaba. Hey, the national. What's it called? What's the agency that deals with nuclear?
Nexa.
Is it Nexa?
Nexa, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I'll call Nexa and say, hey, listen, I think I've got a bit of a leak
My
here.
bike developed a little bit of a leak.
Yeah. Yeah. My rats are starting to glow in the dark. I don't know what to do. Yeah. So if I had to choose, I suppose the most comfortable one I would be the electric car.
Okay, so
But
you
that's not
don't
to say-
like the idea of like
No,
a
not
fuel
that I
tank
don't.
being pressurized to 200 atmospheres and sitting on top of it.
Yeah. There's some dude standing next to it with a cigarette going, You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know enough about the hydrogen cell cars. I suppose, like battery technology is something that's easy for my head to get around and say, okay, that's cool, that's safe. And I wonder how much of that comes into play when marketing these vehicles.
I think a lot.
Yeah.
A lot, yeah.
Price,
Yeah.
availability of, like, I mean, I suppose electric vehicle, I can come home and plug it into my house
Yeah.
to charge the car.
Yeah.
Hydrogen is like, I can't do that. I've got to.
No, you can't. You
But
can't.
I suppose it's like a combustion engine car, like you have to go to the petrol station to fill your car up. So I don't know.
So you know what's an interesting thing? So the idea that a lot of Asian countries are playing around is basically domestic scale electricity generation using fuel cells as well.
Yeah.
So
hydrogen fuel
like
cells.
basically you have like a fuel cell, like a 5 liter fuel cell on the wall of your house or your apartment, and the guys just pull up and just refill it like every so often.
Okay. But here's I've just found something to do with South Africa.
Yeah.
And what do they say here? They say here that South Africa have established a research, development, and innovation strategy on hydrogen known as the Hydrogen South Africa. And they said that they have been using fuel cells for schools. What do they say here? Hydrogen cells have already been successfully deployed to provide electricity for schools and to field hospitals.
Yeah.
Not bad. I didn't know that. Okay.
So a lot of the mining, different mining companies are also playing around with the idea of like using hydrogen fuel cells to power mechanical equipment like scrapers and winches, like underground. Maybe not
Okay.
winches, but like scrapers and like autonomous mining vehicles type of thing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's cool. It
Because
helps
of the
to,
high energy density
Mm.
of the fuel cell.
Okay. Well, look, I suppose this is the nice thing about talking about these kind of subjects is like I start learning stuff about what's happening. I mean, I didn't even realize that there was an initiative in South Africa
So
looking at hydrogen.
Anglo's basically announced the construction of the Hydrogen Valley.
Okay.
I think somewhere outside of Gauteng. But do you know why Anglo specifically is interested in that?
No. Enlighten me.
What goes into the hydrogen fuel cell?
Hydrogen?
Oh yeah, besides that,
I don't know. Platinum?
platinum.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ah. Lovely. Very, very good, sir. Yeah. Okay, so hydrogen, the fuel for South Africa's green future. Well, yeah. So hydrogen fuel cells. I actually wanted to see what hydrogen fuel cell cars. Let's see what cars are available. So I mean, just talking about that. The other thing that I'd read somewhere was the sort of like carbon neutral, the amount of the years that it takes for an electric car to become carbon neutral.
How many years?
Well, I at the first time I saw it, it said something like 7 years. I
Okay.
tried to find the article again
Yeah.
to verify what I'd read,
Yeah.
and I couldn't find the article.
They quickly deleted it.
Yeah, they quickly
saw
deleted
one
it,
view.
yeah.
They're like, oh.
Yeah, but I mean, the reality is that they're saying that the input into manufacturing an electric vehicle, people forget that there is a carbon footprint associated to that, which in some cases it's slightly higher than building a combustion engine vehicle. But it's just something one has to consider
Okay.
when
But
you
with the combustion engine vehicle, your carbon footprint just starts with the car, and then it's like once you switch it on for the first time, it just carries on, right? So let's say just talking about like electric versus fuel cell based vehicles. Like, do you have any
Yeah.
preference?
Look, I like the performance on the electric cars, but I still, I don't. On a vehicle, I want it to sound guttural. I want it to sound like a machine,
Yeah.
and I'm just not getting that.
I don't think you're gonna get. I don't think you're gonna get any like you're not gonna get that guttural sound with a hydrogen fuel cell vehicle. I think, like Andrew
No,
was
you're not.
saying,
No.
they're both gonna sound like little drones or little like electric motors.
Yeah, and that's just It's like something out of a
Yeah.
cartoon.
Yeah.
I think they need to make a noise. They're a traffic hazard because people can't hear them,
Yeah.
right?
Has
These
there been
Actually,
some like accidents or incidents in UK? Like, because I'm pretty sure that you guys have some electric vehicles, quite a few of them on the road.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Electric vehicles are quite common now. Uh, yeah, but even I think back 15 years or whenever, when the Prius first came out,
Yeah.
yeah, people were getting knocked down all over the place because these things used to sneak around the corner. You didn't hear them coming.
Yeah, they just accelerate like.
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I mean, I like the performance. I've been in a couple of Teslas,
Yeah.
and they are awesome.
Would you
Yeah,
consider
not
getting
just
one?
the operating system on the dashboard is pretty cool as well, but I just, yeah, they are cool. But they need to make a noise. If you've got a
Yeah.
performance like that, make a noise.
What if they
All right,
made
this
a
is before
farting
we get
nose?
into the green credential situation,
What
which
if
I'm
they
sure
made
you
a
guys would have
farting
touched on.
nose?
Well, the app actually hasn't. Well, the car,
Yeah.
it actually has a farting app. So
Yeah.
you can actually make farting noises around the car,
Yeah.
depending on, you can choose which seat, the driver or
I
the
think
back
that's so
row.
cool. I think that's so
Yeah,
cool.
I did that in a taxi in Amsterdam to the driver's amusement. So you just focus on the road, and I'll sort the entertainment out. Thank you.